going on with you when you decided to reach out and talk to us?
Oh boy, I was a hot mess. I feel like that might be how everybody starts out if asked that question. But I was in a space where I was busy in thought and just stuff just running through my head. I was coming fresh off of a divorce, at least finalized. So all of the things that go on there. My daughter trying to figure out money to go to college. And I mean, everything that probably could happen, some major life situations were happening. And then not to mention just years of trauma that were compounded. And while I was, going to therapy and at some point got into a mental rehab situation and was working my way through it, I still wasn't, as we'll probably get into a little later, I still hadn't gotten to the root of the problem.
Welcome everyone to Why She's Winning. I'm your host, Christy Rutherford, and I am here today with the dynamic, the fabulous, the gorgeous. She turned her camera on. I said, oh, Lord Jesus. Simone Jenerson. So let me tell y'all about Simone right quick. Simone has spent almost 20 years leading digital product teams to answer these questions. Oh, these questions that we asked. I was like, what questions, girl? Okay, her experiences are across multiple disciplines within the digital product space: a user experience researcher, technical business analyst, program and project manager, and developer. It gives her a unique perspective as she leads cross-functional teams with audacious, complex goals. She holds space for vulnerability and exploration. Combined with her rare perspective, it allows Simone to find patterns, rally teams with seemingly desperate, did I say that right? Desperate.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You got
desperate objectives and drive actions. We on a reading club here. Currently, Simone is working on leading a team of senior leaders and creating strategies that, when implemented, will ensure our products are inclusive from the start as opposed to an afterthought. Building the user experience research program from the ground up, starting with the infrastructure to get data directly from customers. She believes that data is at the heart of ideation, decision-making, innovation, and iteration. Welcome, Simone.
Hey.
I've been waiting for this interview for a long time. A long time. Since our first conversation, I was like this. I can't
really?
Wait. Yes, that's how I be. I be
wow.
like, I can't wait to set you free. Be like, I can't wait. Because I know what we do. Right. And so the goal is to get you from being who I talk to on the phone to the result that we know where we want y'all to be. So tell the viewers and the listeners, Simone, what was going on with you when you decided to reach out and talk to us?
Oh boy, I was a hot mess. I feel like that might be how everybody starts out if asked that question. But I was in a space where I was busy in thought and just stuff just running through my head. I was coming fresh off of a divorce, at least finalized. So all of the things that go on there. My daughter trying to figure out money to go to college. And I mean, everything that probably could happen, some major life situations were happening. And then not to mention just years of trauma that were compounded. And while I was, going to therapy and at some point got into a mental rehab situation and was working my way through it, I still wasn't, as we'll probably get into a little later, I still hadn't gotten to the root of the problem. So I was just spinning. I was spinning and reaching for things that I knew I needed to be set free. I didn't know exactly what that meant until I got here, but there was a kernel in my spirit that said, this ain't right. This is not right. We need to fix this. I saw, I think it was an advertisement, something with Christy Rutherford with you. And I said, your language, how you talking, is speaking to me. There's some vibration that's happening. It is what I need to hear. Let me just see. I clicked on it and the rest is history.
Great. Okay. So basically, life was wearing you out.
Yeah. It was a slow grind to the nub. It was It was bad. It was bad.
But the thing about it, you knew it and you chose to do something about it, because I talk to women all the time who have been locked, and all they want to talk about is the job. And I'll be like this, but your life sucks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Your
Yes.
your job sucks because your life sucks. Not
Mm-hmm.
your job don't suck because it sucks. No, you suck.
Right. Right. You suck. Thus, everything sucks. And
Thus, everything around you
yeah.
is not necessarily you're the problem, right?
Yeah.
And I think you were one of the last people that I talked to right before I went to culinary school. And I was like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you lucky, you got in on the skin of my your chin and chin," right?
Yeah.
I remember I was like,
Yep.
"You the last person."
Yep.
So what was about our conversation? And did I call you something because I'm offensive to everybody that I get on the phone with? I'm not sure. I think I get nicer over time. But what was it about the conversation that was like, this lady really, I think she can assist me with where I am right now.
Yeah. For me, it was very quickly. You just were like this seer. Like I didn't have to say too much, and you were like, "This is what's going on, and you need to be fixed. You need to be healed, and you can either get on the train or stay at the station." And it's like, well, okay, so I don't want to be left behind. I reached out to you for a purpose. So I mean, it really was that the fact that you just got me, and confirmed that vibe that I kind of felt through the internet. It was authentic. I think the call was just confirmed what I felt, what I saw, and so I was like, okay, bet, and that was it. That was it for me.
I talked to somebody the other day, and she was like, "Wow, you sound like what you do in the videos." I actually am louder when I get on the phone. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm not pretending to be like this one person.
right,
And then when you get on the phone, I'm like, "Oh, hello, how you doing? Oh, my name is Christy Rutherford." You be like, "What up?
right,
You gonna come over here and change or what? What's wrong with you?"
right, right, right,
But
right.
but this is the thing, Simone. When you talked about being a seer, is like high achieving women, which we're gonna talk about when you get into the group. We do the exact
Hmm.
same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Like regardless of what we look like, where we're from, the
yeah,
socioeconomic background, like the
yeah.
different races and nationalities that we have in the
Hmm.
group. You be looking at women, you be like, my God. One, we all in trouble.
Yeah, yeah,
Two,
yeah,
um, we all need something different. And three, I'm not by myself. So what was that
yeah.
like when you got in a group and then you got around these other women, right? And who are all
Mm-hmm.
badass, because that's all we rocks with over here is
Right.
unicorn. Like we the baddest chicks in the world. You don't know. We got some stuff we got to unpack, which
Yep.
everybody does, right? And
Yes.
you haven't admitted that to yourself right now, ladies and gentlemen, y'all lying. Like everybody got some
Hmm.
stuff to unpack. So what was that like when you got into the group and then started to experience the other women?
You know, when I first stepped on the scene, I didn't even I couldn't see that. I was too much in me to see what the landscape was. Okay. So that's a moot the point. That ain't even a relevant point on day one or week one or even up to week three. When I actually saw that was when I was much further along, maybe week six. And then what happens is new people came in, and I was kind of growing up in the program, and I saw, week one people. I said, God damn, that's me. I was, I, I basically said the same thing. I mean, it's like ad libs. You could have mixed and matched a couple of adjectives and a noun here and there, but the structure was exactly the same, and it was trippy. Um, and I think not that I needed confirmation of whether things worked or not, but if I did need confirmation, it was apparent that the formula used to use a metaphor you used to make the cake was it was there because the ingredients, i.e., us, were all the same for the most part. We were all the same. So that's when it became apparent, of like-minded women, not just in stature or thought process even, because we all like, we could do this and a course, and I got this degree, that degree, I got all these things. Da, 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 da. Yes, we were very alike in those kind of, demographic ways, but so too were, the reasons in which we were there. So yeah, it was a formula that I knew was going to work.
Yeah, I like to say that we're the place where super women come to rest, because we can't rest around anybody else, because we're being used
Woo.
and abused.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I'm just amen, and I'm over in the corner amening on that, because I mean, my group, we rested in each other. It was a community. It actually still is a community, and we were able to, as they say, lay down your burdens. But we were able to really unpack what those masks that we typically wear, those I don't know, those other accoutrements. I call it a itchy sweater. It started out as a very itchy, uncomfortable, cheap ass sweater that don't fit. It got shrunk. Something happened, and we were wearing them all day, every day. And through the program, our sweaters became this beautiful cashmere, whatever you like to wear. It fit. It was tailor made. It was beautiful, soft to the touch. Like we didn't. We just transformed, and yeah, it just we came to rest, and over time, and you saw which is understandable. When you first come in, you don't know that. You don't know that this is a safe place to rest. You come in with your armor on, ready to fight. Child, people's fake faces are looking like, what is this? I ain't trying to be bothered. I'm here, but like not here. Weird, but I get it. You don't know. But as you understand and learn that this is a space for vulnerability, that's where the healing was. And it went from there.
Hey, Christy, Rutherford here. Forbes has reported that there's going to be a 40% increase worldwide in the number of millionaires by 2023. Is that you, or are you going to continue to talk about there's no money in the market? There is plenty of money out here. You just have to figure out how to get it from your jobs and into your pocket. So I want to invite you to get my free case study, how to use the superpower method to ask for and get a 30% raise in the next 90 days without getting another degree. Look, stop getting all these degrees. Go ahead and get this case study at changenowwithchristy.com. It's at no cost. Use the information, get the money that you deserve, and live the life that you desire. Take care. I'm laughing because Larnay is here. Go, Larnay. Larnay showed up in Vegas. I was like, I've been looking for you. We're going to talk about accountability a little bit later. But like this, I've been looking for you. She was like, me? Like this, oh yeah, put you in the corner right quick. And then Kai is new in the program. So Kai's like, yeah, that's me. And they're talking about, I don't know what's going on with these women. So what was most shocking to you about you when you looked in the mirror at yourself?
What was most shocking to me? I thought that I was looking for value externally. And when it goes back to what you said earlier, like, you suck. Yeah. Problem was, it was me. I didn't value myself, and I didn't know I didn't know my value, and I didn't value myself. Nuanced, but there. And that, that did not come immediately. And in fact, is still something I'm working through. There are times where today, or around today, where I'm just like, remember who you are, remember your value, remember, so this is a work in progress, considering it's been, 4 decades of me not, right? So this is going to take time. But the shocking thing was coming to that realization that it is not external, though. Sure, people were not valuing me. Let's be very clear. I'm not going to take all of it, but the paramount and the most important thing that I had to come to realize, or I came to realize, was I didn't do that for myself.
But it's easy to tolerate people not valuing you when you don't value you. Right. Does that make sense? Because now you're fully aware of who you are. There's no way you're gonna stay in a situation where you're gonna be like this. Oh no, right? And that means, and it's not necessarily about the job, y'all. It's like in your entire life, you're not gonna be in a room where people are tolerating you.
Right.
You're going to get them
Right.
to leave. You're not going to stand for conversations that are negative and somebody who tells you what you can't do. Right. And it's not even a fight, Simone. You're going to get them to leave. You be like, I don't have to stay here, but you would have taken it because you would have believed them. Or, I like to quote scripture and cuss, but I'm just going to quote scripture right now. When Jesus was sitting at the table with the disciples, he says, what are y'all? It's the devil, right? And they were like, is it I? Is it I? And so it's because they don't really know themselves to be true that they have to search within themselves.
Right.
And when we don't know who we are, people say stuff. And I always say, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to. So it's like when people say stuff and you're unclear of who you are because you have all this stuff that you have unpacked, you kind of get offended with feedback. To say it's criticism is not criticism, it's feedback, right? Which keeps women from being promoted. But then it's more like once you're clear and now you're crystal clear, somebody say something, you be like, that ain't it. So what's the difference in that? Like, I want you to unpack it. I want you to unpack that just a little bit about how you would have shown up, how you were showing up then, and how you will choose to show up now when you're.
Oh yeah, boy. Okay, so here we go. So before, thank you. Somebody said I look amazing. Thank you. Before the way it looked for me, I was steady trying to convince anybody about whatever it was. And it wasn't even about me to convince. It was like the topic, the argument, the situation, then me. Like, it didn't matter. I'm trying to convince you. I ain't got to convince you now about nothing, not a damn thing. Okay. So there's that. Okay. Another way in which it showed up was that what you talked about, like that criticism. I can remember. Now, I'll say it was early in my career, which is true, but you learn how to kind of tuck it inside. Anyway, early in my career, somebody told me something and about the work I was doing. And honestly, when I look back, it was not a big deal. It was not a big deal. But I mean, my eyes were welling up. Like, it was just like an offense. I was upset. And now, I take it for what it is. First of all, the big one. I don't take this work shit personal. Let's just start there. This is not my company. This is y'all's company. I'm here to do a job, and I'm doing this job. So it freed me from, taking on something that ain't mine. And we can expand that to life if we want to. But, in the conversation I'm having right now, just, about the job. And so I think those are the big three things. There's other little things that I still be like, oh, who is this? But those are the big things. I don't spend time talking too much. I don't spend time convincing. I don't spend time telling you. You see me. I've said what I needed to say. And I show up the way I show up because as how I talk and how I act right now is how I act and talk everywhere. So there's that. And if it's rubbing you the wrong way, if your gut is telling you something, if you just don't plain like me, whatever it is, you can deal with that on your own. I'm over here. And when you're ready, if you're ready, I'm still here if I feel like being here. If not, then bye. You missed this opportunity to be in. So there's just a lot of, as you said, what I would stand for or not stand for. I have standards now. Something else you kind of don't necessarily have because you just kind of open and letting life happen to you, but you're not making something of life. I could keep talking and I'll start unpacking more and more. I said 3 and we've done, I think I just said 5, but yes, those things. So.
It's fine because when I think about when I was on my way out of my career, I used to always be like, this was my desk. Don't you sit at my desk and don't you touch my pen. Child, that was not my desk and my chair. That was the job chair.
Right.
And we take stuff so personal when we wrap our identity in the job and who we think we are. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want people to get your comment twisted because some women will be like, oh, I came here to do a job and I'm not your friend and this, that, or whatever. Well, that's pain talking. That's not clear. Mm-hmm. Ooh, right. That's good, right? Yep. That's your pain.
Yeah.
Talking about how you can't build and how you won't build like meaningful relationships at work. With some of my best friends I met on the job, and we're still friends to this day. It's like, that's the pain talking of saying, I don't have to be here and I don't have to stay here, as opposed to when you have when you know how your value, or you know how you value yourself, you don't put up, you don't take everything personal, right? Because it's not, people just want to offer some feedback. It's not an attack.
Right.
But we do stay in places where we're undervalued too long because we don't know our value.
Yes. Indeed. And that showed up for me about the last week or two, where it came to, for me personally, listen, don't implement my strategies unless you know yourself. But for me, I came right out and I said to my manager, it is obvious that my growth is stunted here and there's no other path. So we can continue with conversations that talk about me exiting, and I'm fine with having conversations like that because these are facts, right? And but I would not have been able to have that kind of conversation before, in any way. Even with myself, I would have been trying to hold on and stay on, and all the ones, because stay just too long, for reasons that didn't that don't suit me.
Yeah, we're not gonna put your job business out here in these streets. We're gonna come off that. We're gonna come off.
Yeah.
That. All right, great. So, now we had a conversation right before we got on the call where I was talking about this. I was being triggered, right? And I had to tap it out and say, Lord, forgive her. So, what are your thoughts around? Actually, before we even get to that, I want to talk about you being resistant to change. Because if my memory serves me correctly, did you start over? Did we have you?
I did. I started over. This was not a nice, smooth ride. This was a start over ride.
Look how she was riding out like, oh my God, I grabbed onto the horns in the recipe and I followed it directly. And then I popped out, change, like the cake that Christy was talking about. You'd be like this. If my memory serves me correctly, I remember getting on the call and dragging you through the mud.
Oh yeah, see, my slip is showing right now. Yes, I had to start over. Okay.
But you got the result. So talk to the why, Simone, because Kathy is your coach, amazing. So I want you to talk a little bit about Kathy.
Yep.
Why were you so resistant? And is it that you were resistant because you weren't following a recipe? So it's almost like self-sabotage, or did you be like, it's too easy, I think it should be harder? Like, I need to know the backstory because all I know is what happened when it was,
Right.
So go ahead.
Nah, I can't say it was easy. It was tedious. And I think it was more about how do I fit this into my life? Because it was a lot of work. It wasn't just, and when I say a lot of work, I don't mean like, I don't know, let me see how to define that. When I say a lot of work, it means I spent time when I finally got it right. I spent time really reading through the things we need to read through, the videos that we watched, and sitting with that and assessing how I felt and journaling, not only when I was actively reading and watching, what have you, but in the off times, when the brain is wonderful and miraculous and it will do what it needs to do in the background. And when those things came up, because life triggered in a good way, like it sparked something that made me have to think, I did so it was working that way, that this is a lifestyle change. This is not like, I'm just gonna do some activities, whoop-de-woo, and boom, we're gonna fit this into, my little schedule, which is already a hot mess anyway. We're gonna fit this in, and then child, no, like, so that's what was happening, in the first iteration. I was just, I was doing it in earnest. Now I really was trying. I wanted to make it work, but I wasn't doing it right. I don't know, I was trying to fit it into something, instead of really absorbing it and letting it wash over me and sitting with it and massaging it and really doing that inner work, that, having those really important conversations with myself.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. I hope that you're enjoying the podcast so far. But what I know that you'll love even more is joining us in our private community. Join us in this private community. Money Loves Happy People, and get live and on-demand insight so you can use this information to live the life that you truly deserve. Get a raise and a promotion? No problem. Step into your purpose? No problem. Get the relationship that you deserve? No problem. Look, it's never too late to live the life that you deserve. It's never too late to live a life of total fulfillment. You just need information and inspiration to get on the path to living your greater life. So go ahead again, click on the link on around this video, join us in our private community, and change your life for the best. Take care. See you soon.
So you were checking the boxes, but you weren't becoming the information.
Right.
Right. So when you're like, oh my God, this is tedious. So it's almost like piled up because you're like, check, as opposed to, like to give the analogy of, when Pac-Man eats the fruit, he lights up because he absorbs it. And so when I listen to women be like, oh, Christy, I'm gonna read your book. I'd be like, man, why don't you become the book? I'm not impressed with you reading 1,000 books.
Right.
I'll be impressed if you read one book 1,000 times. Right. And it became the information in that book. So when you, it's not necessarily that you weren't doing it right. That's your process.
Right.
And then is, you weren't the end result a little further on it. And we looking at you like, you're not who we want you to be. Right. Like we know that there is, there is a different way, but the difference is, and I remember I remember all y'all's turning point moments. When you saw Diana, because you got another person, a hostage, who came in there on the glow up.
Yes.
So I want you to talk about how, because y'all almost came in right around at the same time, and you watched her glow up, and then how now you're looking at yourself. So what was that story? Because it's hysterical to me, but it was devastating to you.
To watch. I have to be honest with you. It was like, I was like, why not me? I'm here. I'm dedicated. What is wrong with me? And I was just like, it got to a point, y'all. I'm gonna tell you something. It got to a point, everybody, well, not everybody, but the ones who were further along and were glowing, rightfully so, they were glowing. I could not watch it. Their glow was so bright. I was like, you know what, y'all, I got to go. And I left abruptly. I left. And oh boy, there was some fallout, personal fallout that I was like, this ain't right. So yeah, that was a moment. And I took stock of a lot of, I had to call a trusted friend, and I journal. I journaled. I talked to a voice recorded things. It was a moment. Okay. She turned me all around, but in a good way. It was what I needed, to say, listen, when you become this thing, this is what you look like. It was undeniable. This glow was just, woo. I mean, I can't even put it in words. It was just, it really literally was the literal manifestation of light. It was bright. I could not deal. Her smiling face, the glow, everything, her aura, it was like, this is too much. It almost felt like jealousy, to be honest. That's probably the closest emotion I can think of for others to relate. It was like jealousy. But it was more like, why not me? Why can't I have this too? What is going on? You did the same thing I did. What? But of course she did not do the same. She became it. So yeah, that's what that was.
Oh my God, my eyes are watering. I'm crying over here because you were upset.
I went through it.
You hung up the phone and bust out crying. That's pretty much what happened.
That's it.
You was like, you bust out crying like the ugly cry.
So did. I was crying for about an hour straight, off and on, sobbing, crying, deep crying, sobbing, stopping, sobbing some more. A mess. But I needed it.
Oh, that's so funny to me.
And I tell you what, I remember being in the oh man. I know Coach Kathy was watching me burn. She just like she did her job. Okay, it wasn't she was just passively watching me, but when you can see it. And when I look back, I see it. And I'm like, you Simone, what were you doing? And I know that Kathy and team were probably thinking the same thing. Like, what is just oh, we're rooting for you, you know. So yeah.
No, it's our job to get you to be the result of the glow, right? Like
Yes.
that's what we going after. Either
Yeah.
we gonna do this thing nice, or I get in, I'm a little bit more rugged. We're gonna WWF you around this thing.
Yeah.
Like, no, you gonna get this change, right?
Yes.
But when I talk to some women want me to do one-on-one, and I'm like, no, because you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Like you're the story of you watching women around you glow up and you didn't get it, and you were so upset that you cried,
Yes.
you hung up,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What about me for an hour?
Yep. Yes.
Howling, right?
Yes.
Because you saw what was possible.
Right.
And then now you're like, okay.
Now it's time.
It was like, you're gonna have to run the play again. And you were like, okay.
Yeah.
Because when I named this, I keep asking Marty, what did I name this thing again? How to change, when it's hard. It's like, because you were resisting the change.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as hard as you made it to be, but
No.
your hard became watching other women get the glow up and you didn't get it. That became
Right.
your hard.
Right. Yep. Yep. That was it. That was it.
So going back to this thing where I talked about this, I got triggered earlier today. Where somebody demanded to know, the guarantee that we get. And it's like, I know look. And we were talking, it was like, do I have the audacity to be as arrogant as I am about what we do? I know what we do over here. We're not playing with you, right?
Right. You're right.
But I can't guarantee that y'all gonna do what y'all supposed to do. So how can we guarantee like you're gonna do, get this, that, or whatever if y'all coming over here
Yep.
doing what boss women do? Boss women don't like to be bossed.
Right.
Boss women like to do it their way. And we only deal with bossy women, which is brings us great joy, right? Like boss women want to do it their way and then see what happens, and then you don't get it. You're looking at everybody else somehow.
Yep.
And then I commend you because you were willing to start over. And when we do have some women, and it doesn't happen that often, but you were like, fine. What advice do you have for, women who don't believe that their life can be completely different? Because I talk to women all the time. They be like, I want a better job. And I'd be like, we don't get this money. Let's talk about your life first. That's the hard part.
Right.
And they don't believe me, Simone, when I be like, your life could be completely different and you can be happy and you can glow and you can be harmonious in your relationships. And they be like, click, I just want a better job. What advice do you have for them?
That's a topic that, not just from your program, but something I've had to deal with because of my mental illness. That's, where you do not have that belief. So then how do you still then press forward? If you're even can call in that press forward. What I would say is something I always go on what that initial feeling is. A lot of times we can't put things into words, so don't. So you came here for a reason. Something spoke to you, some feeling, some word, something got you here. Take that next step. Even if you don't believe it, take the next step anyway. And
let me back up a little bit. I'm not talking about people joining us, right? Like that's later. But
yeah,
I want
sure.
to know, what advice do you have them specifically on whether or not their life can be completely different? Not work with us, but like from your standpoint, because your life is completely different than what it was.
Yeah.
4 months ago, women came into January. I don't even think a lot of people came into January and wanted to be different. They just gonna get by and sweet by, Lord Jesus, if I could just make it. What advice do you have for women who don't believe that they can be completely different after 4 decades? Looking like you 20 over there. You're like a tenderoni.
I frankly, it's the same advice. It's not necessarily taking the step to join. It's just taking the step within you. Like, it is. If it's that feeling that I don't believe it, well, what's stopping you, or what, if you don't do it, you're going to be here, so why not do something and see where that goes. I think it's more about having that little mustard seed of faith, or and I don't want to use that word because sometimes that gets a little convoluted with religion and belief, but maybe that little mustard seed of thought that it is uncomfortable. So work your way out of the uncomfortableness. Do something different. You've been doing, you know, this for who knows how long. So do something different. And that's something, like I said, it wasn't just about joining or to join. It really is, I do that with everything that I want to do differently, or don't believe it's not apparent in my face, but I know that I need to be somewhere else than here, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a woman I was talking to the other day who, child, works 16 hours a day.
Ooh.
Right? Don't see her kids. Husband get 1 hour a week. Right? A week.
Okay.
And so I'm dragging her. It's my normal. I can't help it. And so she was like, I'm gonna wait 3 months. I'm like, no, you should do it now. Right? Like, and then she got offended and was like, you want my money. That didn't go good.
Right.
That didn't go good at all.
Nah.
And I'm like, I've been on the beach for 3 years. I'm good. I've been here. I'm fine as I don't know what. I get finer every year, Simone. It's actually shocking. Without plastic surgery, I promise you.
As you should. As you should.
Yeah, we get better every year. But it's like, I don't need your money. I want your transformation. Right? Like, your life can be completely different in 3 months, and you deserve better first, and then your family deserves better. So how has your freedom and joy and ease, transformed your household and your relationships?
Yeah. Well, I have children, and so going back to that value in myself, that's something I'm able to teach my children as well.
Hey, Christy, Rutherford here. I hope that you are enjoying this podcast as much as we loved putting it together for you to share insight to make your life better. Now, did you get your copy of my resume course, How to Use the Superpower Method to Write an Irresistible Resume to Land You a High-Paying Job? Look, even if you have somebody write your resume for you, how do you know whether or not it sucks? And did you give them the information to be able to write a great resume, or did you hope that they were going to spend gold out of something that you gave them that wasn't that good? So get this course, not just to write your own resume, but to be able to provide resume writers with what they need to adequately tell your story so you can get paid the money that you desire and deserve. So go ahead and click on the link on around this video. Get this course, use it, and get paid what you deserve. It's less than $50. I mean, come on, just get the course and use it. See you soon.
So that they're not passive. I'll just say that, period. Because in being passive, you can, if you're talking about value, you can allow others to define your value, and that cycle starts, considering for my children. So so it is me, teaching them, what I have learned for myself. And so I think that's the biggest thing that, and the other thing is, in that, I think the adjacent point is I've broken, I think, my own family's generational curse, in terms of, how people are loved, how people are seen, how people are valued. My family came from these circumstances, and as I explored my hurts in this program, I realized with my adult eyes, like, where people were coming from, and how I was on the track to perpetuate it, quite frankly. And if this program didn't interrupt that, that's, who knows? But it definitely was on the track to continue. And so as a result, I've broken that. I can claim that I've broken it, and And my children's trajectory is going to be vastly different, psychologically and financially as a result, that those correlations exist per this whole conversation. It'll be different as a result. So I think for me that's the biggest priceless thing that I got out of here. And I didn't even come in here, look, Christy, I didn't even come in here thinking about that part of trauma. Let me tell you, I was thinking all other kinds of trauma, which were valid and true. But when I uncovered what I uncovered about, my people, that was so deep in the recesses. It was so packed down. It's so hidden, packed away, put up on the shelf. And I have been to therapy consecutively for 3 years or so and never reached into that. So the fact that was available to me through this program, and thus the actions taken thereafter, you listen, I can't begin to tell you what that means for me, and I can't begin to tell you what that means for my family.
Yeah, that's what we do over here. We coming for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one more question.
Yes.
Actually, I want to unpackage this a little bit. Like I always, tell women, we're here for pattern breakers and change makers. Like that's who I'm coming for. If you ain't here to break generational patterns in your family, why are you on my phone?
Mm-hmm.
If you're here to just want a different job and you don't want to be happy and you're not here to create generational wealth for your family, I'm not for you.
Mm-hmm.
I like the women who have like God has so much greater for you, but you in the way.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like, because we're gonna get you out of the way. You're gonna break these patterns for your family, which can't be there can't be a price tag put on it in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. But you can see it's going to be completely vastly different when you break that, because a broken mama can't create a whole child. I don't care what you say.
No.
And moms don't even know how broken they are because you ain't did the work to completely look in the mirror and be like this. My God, I can't.
Right.
Oh my
God. Yes. You're right.
You working 20 times as hard to be so-and-so for your kids. You ain't getting nowhere because your children don't listen to what you say. They're doing what you do.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whew, I just got loud and passionate on that. All right. So, Simone, what advice do you have for women who are considering working with the team over here at Vision Finder International? What advice do you have for the women who are on the fence and they're like, I don't know. Maybe. What advice do you have for them?
Well, it goes back to the thing I left with earlier, in that just take that next step. You heard something, felt something, saw something. So go ahead and do that. And I'll also say, don't worry about what you may need in order to actually get into the program. It will be provided. You will figure it out. It will be figured out for you. So I think those two things, go with that, frankly. and don't wait for the proof in the beginning. Like when you sign up, like on the form, I promise you, some women will have the proof that first week. Some women will have that proof by the third week. But I promise you, once you're in there, you will have the proof you need. But hey, I need the proof as I fill out this form. Stop it. The proof is in you, and in that feeling that we talked about, and that thing that showed itself that we talked about earlier.
I want to ask you one more question. I had to move because the computer was going, the battery. I want you to, because you just got in the monthly. Have you just gotten a monthly? Have you been there for a while?
Not too long ago. No,
okay.
Not too long ago.
I want you to talk about the commitment that we have to y'all's change, because you saw the chicks that I had in there forever. I was like,
yeah. Yes.
Oh no, y'all ain't going nowhere until you get what we want. But you came in seeing a couple of them not where they needed to be, and now last week or 2 weeks ago, you be like, okay, all these chicks are going right now. Like, what's the difference? I would say, or I would say a commitment, like a difference, but what do you see in our commitment to, getting y'all to where you're supposed to be, which is going to be different for every last one of y'all. It's not the same. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. That commitment was real. It goes into the authenticity that I had, talked about with before. If you saw in the beginning, you saw it throughout. Listen, when I was going through my mess in the first time around, there was the commitment was there to, to hear me out, but like, a listening parent, like woo woo, okay, okay, you know, you know, um, and when I, got into it that second time, clearly, the wind at my sail, just, it's like, all right, we are here, and everybody, phew, just rocket ship there. So I mean, the commitment wasn't just a one-time thing. It wasn't just to get you in. It wasn't just to, see the results, so we can got something to talk about. It was throughout. It was on day one. It was when you tried to, when you talked to me and tried to understand me and assess, what the hell's going on here, as you do with everyone. I'm sure you had that initial call. That commitment was there each and every week. And that's where I underline. That's where the proof will be, because you will see it, you will feel it, you will know it. So that commitment was there, not just from the coaches. The fact that we showed up every week. Okay, I mean, I don't want to understate the fact that the commitment of the cohort was also the thing that got me up. Because listen, Coach Kathy, I love her, but there were a couple times I'm like, nah, I'm not with this Coach Kathy today. I'm too through. I had a tough day, a tough week, but it was because there was this camaraderie, there was this energy, there was a few things in my particular cohort that just, it propelled me to show up. So, that commitment of folks showing up, whether they were on the one side of the coaching, mirror, or on the other side, getting the coaching, right? And then, through that monthly that I'm in there for, child, we got dragged. You dragged us. You did what you do. Okay. So, but by that time you learned, this is Christy. This is what, that care and attention looks like. So we don't take nothing from it. It ain't personal. We just need to get our shit together and call it a day. So, but it's there, right? It's that care and concern throughout, really the entire program.
I mean, you spoke to it, right? Because it's to be around women who care about change in a different way, not the job, but our soul.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like our mental and our physical health and the harmony that we seek. And so it becomes this, cohort of let's all be great together for,
right.
Does that make sense? And it's like, we don't get that out here in these work streets because people are only talking about the job.
Right.
And we have stuff that, secrets that we won't unpack even with our best friends. It's because it's too much. But you have this group that be like, man, Kathy gonna get you because you ain't did the work.
Right.
Come on and get it. Just go on and get on the line and take it, and then hope that in the week that you're going to do the work, because we're committed to your change. And what you talked about was, thanking yourself for showing up. It's like Snoop Dogg's video is like, I want to thank me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to thank me for showing up and working, and I want to thank me for da. So it's a shared agreement of change. We're going to show up, you show up, we show up, they show up, and together, we create this group of women who are destined to change the world. So your journey is, has started, right? You ain't even put your shoes on and laced up and get on the track yet for what's going to happen. So I can't wait to see what happens and continues to unfold with you on your journey. Because you're fresh out here in these streets looking shiny with your glow. You got your glow, girl. You saw that glow? Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
This glow is here, and it's here to stay. Like I said, it's a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. This is not some little couple of things I done did for this program. I mean, my behaviors are different. My thoughts are different. What I do, eat, and say are different. Everything. It is a lifestyle change. So what you see here is what you see,
All right, ma'am. Y'all can join me at my upcoming event, levelupwithchristy.com. That'll be February. How long is that? Is that next week, Simone?
That's a couple of weeks.
You can get you can get my case study at no cost at levelupwithchristy.com/CS. And that'll be the instant on site. Or you can join me at my event, February 6th or 7th, I think. Look at the dates on the event, child. Marty gonna get me at levelupwithchristy.com. So, all right, Simone, don't hang up. Bye, y'all. Y'all have a great weekend or a great week since it's only Thursday. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and leave us a review if you love this episode. Follow Christy on Instagram and LinkedIn. And don't forget to get her free gift by texting Change Now, all one word. Again, Change Now to 66866. Until next time, go out and win bigger.